this episode of Akram's Ideas, I'm going to share with you some of the cool vintage finds that I got in July and August. So stay tuned! Hello and welcome. I'm Akram Burris, and you're watching Akram's Ideas, bringing creative and crazy ideas to life. It's time once again for another vintage finds episode of Akram's Ideas, and it feels like forever since I've done one of these videos. I skipped July because I only got a handful of stuff in July and August as well, mainly because we were in the process of packing and moving and everything and preparing for a big move here to our new home. So I didn't get a chance to really do a whole lot of shopping, plus the fact that I was having to pack up everything, I didn't get a chance to film what I did get. So now I know we're already midway into September, but I thought I would share with you my vintage finds for July and August. So let's talk about some of my frequent antique stores that I go to here in the Jinx, Tulsa area. The first one is River City Trading Post, which I've talked about before. It wasn't very far from where I used to live, and so we would just go there periodically on the weekends just to see what they had. And luckily it's still not that far away from my new place, but it's not just like right there. Like I said, it was nearby, so we just happened to go to that store like every other weekend just to see what's new. And I got a couple of things actually for decorating my new home. The first two items are these couture and posters here. One is from Couture December 1954 and one is from July 1950, and these are just basically blown up magazine covers. And I thought the colors, the red and white polka dots, they looked great. They're just really iconic. Not only is it advertising in magazines, they're very vintage, and I really like the way they look. And they had been flip-flopping on their price every now and again. I think they started at like $15, and the last time we were in there, they were about $10 each. And so my husband actually was like, "You need these for your room." And so I went ahead and got the pair, which I was very happy with. The other one that I got is the Palace de Glace, or the Glace poster here. And this is something I think I've seen maybe before, like at Hobby Lobby or something like that. But I believe this was only about $12–15, and the frame alone is worth that. So this was really nice. Another vintage advertising piece. This is actually from the early 1900s. There were several promotional posters done for this ice cream in Paris. And they're very popular prints. You'll see various versions of the same type and style of painting. I'm just happy with it. I think it's really nice. The last little item that I got at the River City Trading Post was another mannequin. Now, as you may have seen from some of my other videos, I have a adjustable sewing mannequin, Taylor as I named her. And I've been thinking about getting another mannequin just for display, just to have my other project setting on. And this particular mannequin fit the bill. It was $5. And interestingly enough, it doesn't have its base anymore. And it's just made of a thin plastic, and it looks like the boob has been crushed. She must have fallen over at some point. As I was looking at her and everything, my husband said that it's just some fiberglass type material, and he was going to go ahead and take some Bondo and stuff and maybe fix this bust here, and I can remove this black that she came with, and I actually have some sort of like sketchy nude color that I could put on her, and we're going to come up with some solution for putting her on a base. But for $5, it was a really great deal to get another mannequin to utilize in my sewing room so that I could put stuff on, and just to use as sort of a display model for other garments and whatnot. I need to come up with a good name for her, since I'm trying to stick with like sewing names. Since the other one's named Taylor, I need to come up with something, something sewing related, but still a name. So if you have any good suggestions, come up with a good name for my new mannequin. Another place that I went locally was an antique store called the Pink Lily, and it's sort of an antique store slash boutique. They have a lot of boutique items, and I've never really found anything at that store, but near the end of July we were just poking in, and I actually found a couple of items. The first one are these sort of bangle bracelets, and I usually don't wear bracelets for a couple of different reasons. The first one is that I had suffered from carpal tunnel several years ago, and so any kind of weight on my wrist was so painful, and since then I've had carpal tunnel treatment where they do like electric shocks and stuff to your hand. It's weird, but I mean, it changed everything. My carpal tunnel doesn't really bother me anymore. However, most of my job is typing on the computer, so I still don't wear a lot of bracelets. The second issue is that I have really fat wrists, and most bracelets don't fit me. However, I was at the Pink Lily and they had these bangle bracelets, and they're not vintage, they're kind of a new thing that they got, but they were only $1. And I tried them on and they fit, and I was like, they fit me, I'm getting them. And so I got one in every color that they had, because like I said, it's so hard to find the bracelets that fit me, and they are a little tight squeeze to get on, but once they're on, they don't seem to bother me. I don't typically wear them on a daily basis, just like when I'm going out and about. I don't want to wear them while I'm working because, again, I type. But for $1 each, I thought these were cute, and they had 10 different ones, so they were $10. And like I said, I was really excited to get bracelets that actually fit my wrist. The other item that I got at the Pink Lily was this vintage hat. And it is, like I said, they usually don't have a whole lot there vintage, but this hat caught my eye. It was only about $15, and it, as you can see, here's the inside of it. I'm going to say that it's probably a 40s style just from its design here, and it looks so adorable. I mean, doesn't it? Yeah. But I love it, I love it. I think I'm gonna wear it with some of my 40s style dresses. The last place that we went, and I think we went there early August, and this was out in Broken Arrow, which is kind of a suburb of Tulsa. And a friend of mine actually told me about this place. She was like, have you been to my Pa's antique store? And we hadn't actually been there. We've been to a couple of places out in Broken Arrow, but not that one. And she'd mentioned that they had patterns. So we went out to Broken Arrow to, and again, this was like early August, to see what they had. And they did in fact have some patterns. And I only got a handful this roundabout. A lot of the patterns weren't necessarily my size, and they had a lot of like 80s, 70 patterns, which isn't always my style, but I did get a few. This one here is relatively interesting. It's the Miracle Yard, so you can make 20 things with a single yard. And basically you just kind of sew up the raw edges of this fabric into like a scarf, and it shows you all the variations of how you can utilize this scarf to make the tank, to make the turban, make collars, all sorts of things. And I thought that was kind of interesting. It was just kind of fun to see how that worked. Another 70s, early 80s type pattern was this Jiffy dress. I got it primarily because you can make it in the blouse version, and I love Jiffy patterns because they're so quick and easy. They're like 2 to 3 pattern pieces, and they're so easy to quick to sew up. The other two patterns are 80s, late 80s type patterns. This one is for a circle skirt. And I just wanted a basic pattern for a circle skirt. I know that I can make one myself, but it's hard to find a sheet of paper that big. And so it's nice when you can get it in a pattern. The other pattern that I got was another 80s style pattern. And this was a Vogue design basic one. Isn't something that I would normally gravitate to. I picked it up and I was kind of glancing at it, and my husband mentioned that even though the styles were kind of 80s, that I could maybe modify it to look a little bit more vintage. So those were the patterns that I got there. The last thing that I got at the My Paws Antique store there in Broken Arrow was a sewing machine. I was inspired by Bianca Santori of Vintage on Tap, who recently did a video about her antique sewing machine table set that she bought and fully restored. And it sounded like it wasn't as difficult as I had once thought it may have been. And I really enjoyed watching her process with that, and I'll actually link her video in the comments below. I've been on the lookout for an antique sewing machine for a while. Now, as you may know, I actually already have a vintage Bernina Recorder 830, which is my main sewing machine. But it was nice to have the idea of having a secondary sewing machine, especially one that I could just like leave some white thread on, ready to go whenever I needed a quick stitch or something hemmed, or if I wanted to switch between projects. And this one kind of fit the bill. It was only $50. It works. It is a Singer Zigzag 457, and so the table, everything was intact. It doesn't really have any attachments with it other than the foot that was on there. The little plastic bit here is bent up, but being a Singer, the parts for these are super easy to find. The only thing that we are planning to do as far as restoration really on this, other than cleaning it up and getting some new parts, is that the power strip cable is a little worn and old. So my husband said he was going to replace it with a more modern power cable on that. But other than that, it's really nice. I managed to find the full manual for this particular sewing machine online as a PDF, so I've downloaded that. The table doesn't look too bad. I need to polish it down. I'm not sure if I want to restain it or if I just want to like paint it sort of a trendy kind of shabby chic kind of pink or green color. I'm not sure yet, but I'm leaning towards that side of actually just painting the table up and setting it here in my sewing room. So this was kind of my surprise splurge item of the month, and I'm really excited about it and can't wait to get started using that. But it'll have to wait until I unpack, get everything straightened up and organized first. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Akram's Ideas, and as always, don't forget to follow us on social media or subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching!